Yeah.
I'm not really sure, Minister, how I can do justice to this
Thank you,
topic in 5 minutes. I welcome it. However, in a sense, we're putting the cart before the horse. At the moment, I understand there's a committee meeting going on, where just finished, where the CEO and the committee are teasing out very important issues, and then the public accounts is due to have an appearance on the 10th of February by the CEO. And I would have thought, rather than speaking in a vacuum today, some of the issues would be highlighted and it would be crystallised and we'd have a better chance. So on this page, I have various places I Connemara, Fud Connemara, Coronúldum, Knockwill, Chorus, Faimu, Agus Gwil, Winter, Nahatcha, Hees, O'Heave, Aspa, Leathanbhanda. So on this page, I have I'll just not read out personal things, but Park Lord and Spidgel, 4 people trying to work from home, Amber area, time spent 2 to 4 years. Sky does not provide a service. Luck on Biog, Amber area, situated on Link Road between 2 complete access fibre ribbons, can't get it, and so on. Knock South, Invern, 5 people working from there, just off the R336 where fibre runs, and so on. I could go on. And so we spend our time taking these representations, and I appreciate the Minister that was here already has taken a hands-on approach, and I'm sure you have. I appreciate that, taking a hands-on approach, which begs a lot of questions as to why a busy minister has to take on such a hands-on approach with all of the officials to run what should be an open and accountable contract without all this extra effort, and I'd love to know the price of that. So then we spend our time putting in representations and fighting to move people along the coloured board from blue to amber, and then fighting within that amber to see what year. So I leave that and try to use my minutes to say, I never thought I'd stand here and agree with Deputy Alan Farrell. And I absolutely agree with him. And he said, unfortunately, belatedly, that it was an absolute disaster to privatise this back in 1999 when the telecom Éireann was privatised by a flotation. And then what happened after that? That was a major, major mistake. And now we're investing somewhere between 2.1 billion that we've been corrected today, or 3 billion. Even in itself, that uncertainty is unhelpful. And so while it's clarified there's 2.1 billion in a contract, it's a lot more than that, with a huge effort from the department to monitor a contract that we haven't seen, despite the fact that the former Minister, Richard Bruton, said it would be published in full, almost in full. We haven't seen it. So we're here then getting reassurances and talking around in circles, trying to find out how this contract is being implemented and whether the person fronting it, who appears to have only a 10% share, and all of the other myriad of companies behind that, well, let's not bother our little minds about that, really, because that's all too complex for it. And it's ironic that we're talking about communications and broadband and facilitating easier communication, while all the time we're obfuscating, confusing and hiding communication and making it impossible for us who are just ordinary TDs to read stuff and ask appropriate questions. It's not possible, Minister, you know that. And then we see over and over again various examples of different organisations where the governance has utterly failed. Everything from the Children's Hospital, which had an outside board attached to it to monitor what was going on, to yesterday's terrible result, terrible report from on CAMS in Kerry, and all of the time governance failing. And then what do? We sign a contract, complex, too complex for the ordinary TD to understand, and belatedly then we put on a public service director, or whatever the right title is. She was put on the following year, almost a year later. What is the role of that woman? Has she come back and reported to the government in relation to various issues? What issues have arisen? Is she there? And I understand, you see, the problem is when we have a public director that their duty is to the company. So what is the point of having a public director? Now, I happened to be at 1 or 2 meetings going back initially when my colleague Thomas Pringle wasn't available. And I asked this very question in relation to a public director and what was the role and what was going to happen. We've heard absolutely nothing since in relation to that. So we're here today looking at something like this. without any connection between the other companies on the ground, and we've all met them. We've been overwhelmed with representations from companies on the ground saying we can do it, but we're not being facilitated. And then you have air, where we hear an awful lot of complaints about, and you have to continuously pressurise them to make, so people have come off here, off the amber, because air finally have facilitated. My time is up now. I haven't even approached. I'm not complaining, but this is no way to bring openness and accountability to a contract like this.
Thank you, Deputy. Thank you very much.